It's time to take your business to the next level, the boss level. These are the premier business owner strategies and successes being utilized by the industry's top talent today. Rock your business like a boss, a VO boss. Now let's welcome your host, Ann Ganguza.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss Podcast. I'm your host, Ann Ganguza, along with the amazing Ms. Pamela Muldoon. Hey Pamela.
Hello, Ann. Hello.
Oh my gosh, I am a little bit crazy today. You know, Pamela, among all the other things that I try to do every single day.
You're a busy lady.
Yeah.
You have a lot going on.
I've been trying to be really good about creating a blog post every week. And I was really good for maybe a small amount of time, but I'm finding it very tough to keep it consistent. And I'll tell you what, I was actually getting some really good results. Like people were responding really well. When I was consistent and posting my blog once a week, it was great. And now I've kind of lost it. And I think maybe it's something that we can talk about in terms of how bosses handle tasks and trying to grow their business. And the fact that the consistency aspect that I found to be so right for my business and really helped me to grow my business, I think we should really talk about that.
I would love to. I would love to talk about consistency. My guess is that you were seeing a really nice uptick, kind of an exponential uptick of activities.
I was.
And then you stopped, and then you probably saw it go off a cliff.
Pretty much. And I feel like such a loss, actually, because I'm like, every day, all I can think about is the fact that I have not updated my blog. And it's like a constant like, Ann, come on, you got to get it together. And it's not a good feeling, actually.
No.
So,
it's funny. We almost it's almost like a form of self-guilt. Right? That kind of creeps in. Yeah.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
I beat myself up over it.
No, I would love to talk about that. I think it's probably one of the most powerful parts of the marketing process or even just business in general is creating consistency on important tasks or important tasks that make up a bigger objective or goal. And there's a lot of logic to it, but for some reason, without that accountability or holding our feet to the fire, creating new habits, creating new consistency or routine, one of the most challenging things to do.
Very much need time management here
to
help me with that. I find, though, I will say, one thing for sure is that, the one thing that keeps telling me that, I have failed to yet post my blog again is the fact that I use a calendar. I pretty much live and die by my calendar right now. And I really feel that if I didn't schedule something into the calendar, it just can't get done. What are your thoughts about that?
I think there's a lot of truth to that. Absolutely. It's if you don't write it down, it doesn't exist kind of philosophy, right? And I think, too, when you think about all the activities, because everything is, when you were to open your calendar, you tell yourself everything is important. I think it's also taking a look at all the tasks and kind of asking yourself, how does this get me to where I want to go, right?
Sure.
How does this activity drive to something bigger or that type of thing? Or even doing kind of the opposite, right? Like you want to create some kind of bigger objective with, say, your blog practice, right? Or tactic. And then coming back to that daily routine is going to help you get there. So it could be a combination, right, of not only writing it down, make sure that it's in the calendar, but also having that big goal in front of you to see what you're trying to push towards, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what, Pam? This is like an epiphany for me because what I do have in the calendar is the fact that I need to publish the blog every week. I have a different day of the week and it says publish blog. However, I realize, that I've not scheduled time in my calendar to actually work on it on a daily basis or whenever I can.
The publishing is the easy part,
right?
Ann.
you gotta have the content. You gotta have the content to publish. And so, wow, Pamela, that's like such a simple thing. But I do need to allocate time for that. And
right.
And I think in my brain, if it's not on the calendar, I just don't have time for it. But I'll tell you, I think I can squeeze in some time, even if it's like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes a day. I think over the course of time, I would be able to really get something done. And I want to make sure I'm not overtaxing myself. That's for sure. I want to make sure it's realistic.
I think that's probably one of the most important elements here. They're such a key point, Ann, is I don't know. Well, yeah, I do. I'm a pretty type A personality, and I tend to hang out and attract those that are kind of in that similar mindset.
Hello.
Ann Ganguza.
Hello.
So,
my name is Ann Ganguza. A-type Ann Ganguza.
Which usually equates to I bite off more than I could chew kind of thing. Like you get it all done, but I don't know about you, but I've had this conversation with myself where I said, Pam, if you would actually choose tasks that were more realistic, perhaps you'd feel better at the end.
True.
And I think that's a part of it, right? So there's what would the end look like for you? What are those goals? Say you did, consistent activity for a 30-day time frame. What is it you're hoping to achieve? And it could be an increase in engagement, an increase in, whatever your CTAs are, right?
Yeah.
Like there's something that you're shooting for. But you're right. If you were to pick a 30 or 60-day time every day consistently and put a little mini task or a subtask, write the first draft and then the second day edit the draft and, whatever you think those tasks are that make up the full week. So when you push the button, which is the easiest task of all, yeah, I think there is very much something to be said. I've actually made that note myself these last couple of months. Also we're dealing with, I call it COVID brain a little bit, where I swear everything I thought I could do in a normal year, I'm still trying to be that person, and that's just not necessarily the case. So I have to really focus, and I have to keep creating more of a realistic expectation and being very honest with myself on what realistic is defined, right, or how it's defined.
I think that's so important that you bring that up, and especially now during this time. I was just talking about that in a presentation about how to build your business in a post-COVID world, and a lot of it is the very first thing is you are the first priority. You have to take care of yourself. So, if you're going to be setting goals and accepting challenges for what are you going to do every day to grow your business, you have to be realistic because it can't end up making you feel bad about it. However, I think it will allow you to see the possibilities. And actually, if you think about it, there's so many 30-day challenges out there, not even just how to grow your business, but there's 30-day challenges everywhere, like in fitness. And as a matter of fact, I think there's probably a 30daychallenge.com somewhere.
Right. It is true. Well, it's creating new habit, right?
Yeah,
new routine.
exactly.
And I think there's something powerful about that time frame where the result is actually exponentially different enough. You see the result so differently that's the momentum that gets you into the second 30 days. Right. So, and I think, I even think about just breaking things down. A lot of folks are looking to, grow their database or drive new leads, for example. And a lot of times we might tell ourselves, I want to get 200 new leads in my database, in 30 days. Okay, well, what does that actually look like on a day-to-day basis?
Sure.
And breaking that down. And then instead of looking at it as 200, you're looking at it as 5 a day. 3 a day or something. Like being able to break something down on a daily routine is so much more chewable.
Oh, I agree. A lot of times, I remember when I first started in voiceover and I was trying to track my auditions and what auditions I did and how many I did per week. And in my head, I had done much more than when I started to actually record how many auditions I was doing. I was like, oh, no, I can do 30 by the end of this week or whatnot. And when I actually started to write it down and record it, I then found out like, oh, I'm not doing 30. I'm doing like, I don't know, 15, and maybe it feels like 30 or whatever it is. I think the daily record of it and just the recording of it really helped to lock me down into, first of all, great time management to figure out how long does it actually take me to do that, and then how much do I need to allocate to reach my goal. So I think that the daily writing down or the daily tracking of it is a good thing. So
yes, yeah. And I did just, I have my calculator here, Anne, so I took the 30 divided by the 200, right? That's 6.66 for the listening audience.
Oh, my.
I don't know what that means.
What a number,
Anne.
yeah. But it seems like a realistic number on a daily basis. That's
6 to 7. If you said, I'm gonna add 6 new names to my database, and that's reaching out through LinkedIn or, whatever your scenarios are that you've built up over time to connect, does that feel more feasible? And definitely saying, I'm going to connect with 6 new people today sounds a heck of a lot more doable than I want to have 200 by the end of the month. Because I don't know about you, Anne, but when I set those goals as well, and I'm 15 days in and I've done very little activity, I still try to go for the same goal within less time, right? Which now I've added more anxiety to the inconsistency process. So I'm packing it all on, in terms of expectations for myself, which are just not realistic.
Yeah. And then all you do, and then at the end, you just beat yourself up over it. So I think if you do the daily thing and you are realistic about it, it can be very, very manageable. I know that not so long ago, I kept trying to say, I've got to like get in better shape, right? Because this pandemic there's no exercise here. So I finally said, and we moved to a really beautiful area, and I finally just said, well, I've got to be able to walk sometime. And my husband kept saying, well, why don't you just, go ahead, get up early and walk? And I'm like, I don't have time. But in reality, Pam, I do have time.
Right.
There was, I think if it becomes priority and this is, you really want to grow your business or you really want to reach that goal, whatever it is, that fitness goal. And by the way, if you're more fit, you can run your business better, by the way.
Yes.
That really helps. It helps to really refresh your creative mind and your business mind as well. So, yeah, I think really allocating the time, having a good calendar system. And I'll tell you, I just use my Google Calendar. I live by my Google Calendar. But the fact that I can schedule time in there really, really helps.
Yeah, and I think when you see it, it becomes more real. Mm-hmm. I've also redeveloped the routine personally just in the last probably, I would say, month or two, where every morning I'm making my to-do list in the morning, or I'm making that list of 3 main things I want to tackle for the day. But even more importantly, I take kind of a pulse check at night. I pull out that planner that I use and I open it up and I give myself, that realistic, did I get it done? Did I not get it done? And kind of thinking, if I did get it done, great, I can check it off. Always feels good. If I didn't get it done, really asking myself, why didn't I get it done? And then, of course, you start to see what you move over every day. And, just that making time to see how you're spending your time is also a really telling process to create more consistency of the activities that are going to actually make a difference.
Here's a question, Pam. Now, I have a digital calendar. However, I also have a notepad where that's where I write my to-do list. And I have really thought about, let's do the whole digital thing where I can I like that checking and crossing off of things that I've done. So for me, old school Anne likes to actually have a little pad, which is my to-do for the day, where I can physically scratch off what I've accomplished.
It's funny you bring that up because I had moved everything to digital, and I realized that when I did that, at some point, I stopped engaging with my daily tasks in a really kind of smart way. I mean, I could type them out, but there is something about pen to paper, right? It just makes a difference. So, yeah, I ordered the old school planner process.
Look at that.
A couple of months ago and have reignited that in my life as well because I want to be able to just sit, at night on the bed or whatever and just kind of have that 15, 20 minutes of just downloading my day and have that same in the morning. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to look at the screen. I think that's because with COVID, I've upped my screen game a little more than I already was bad in screen because I was already working from home. But because our social calendar has become fairly non-existent, we're spending even more time in front of screens, I think.
Oh, yeah, I agree.
And so I'm trying to be very cognizant of not doing that through this power of creating not only my to-do list, but my goals and just kind of reintroducing in a way some of those old patterns of how I used to do things. And I don't want them to be digital, at least for the time being. I've changed that as well.
So let's throw out some ideas of things that we can think of that would grow and enhance our business. And I'm going to start off by saying, obviously, we've been talking, you are the content queen, right? Content marketing queen. I'm going to say, yes, let's put it on our to-do list to create some form of content. And it doesn't have to be don't make it a big lofty goal. I would say, maybe do a 1-minute video on Instagram or, post something on Instagram every day or do an Instagram story. Maybe do that every day, something small that you can then repurpose through other social channels. I'll tell you what, I'm going to take the challenge right here in front of everybody. And I'm going to say,
drum roll.
I'm going to say that I am going to allocate. Well, I'm not going to start it quite yet, but let's see. I think we should start something in the beginning of a new month. So
yes, I feel I'm that kind of person, right? I like to start things in this kind of when things are new and fresh.
And and you know what? I want the bosses to play along with us. So how about this, Pam? For the month of September, for 30 days, I am going to make time in my calendar every single day to focus on that blog, focus on the blog writing, because I want to get back to my publishing once a week, but I'm going to allocate the time, which is what I missed doing before. I'm going to allocate 30 minutes because I don't have an hour, but I'm going to allocate 30 minutes in the mornings to working on those blog posts. How's that?
When you're committing to 30 days and you're talking about
30 minutes a day.
30 minutes a day, does that include 7 days a week for you?
Well, I work 6 days a week.
Right.
Pretty much 7, but I'm gonna say that I'm gonna do it 6 days a week because my real work week I think is Monday through Saturday.
Yeah. Well, and I just want to make that little caveat there, right?
Yeah.
Because you're
Some
still
people
doing
don't.
forward activity, right?
Yep.
Even if one of those days is a day of rest or a day of kind of, and I think too with something like the blog, your day of rest, so to speak, and I have quotation marks for those of you in the back, you can't see, could also be where you're thinking of ideas. Ideas are, I don't know about you, but I come up with my best ideas on my walks or, when I'm kind of disengaging, right?
Absolutely.
So even if it's not formal, you may still be doing it every day, right? Yeah.
That is my goal. I'm taking a challenge. We're taking the 30-day boss challenge. What about you, Pam? Are you going to commit to something?
Oh, my gosh. You're going to make me commit. Okay.
I am.
So, yes, I almost hyperventilated there. I always get nervous when I have to be accountable to somebody for some reason. But no, if you can do this, I can do this. And I've been thinking about this one a lot. I've been tackling this idea of doing more video in terms of getting my message out. And I have some hangups around that because I'm an audio gal. But I want to commit to 30 days of live streaming for my business in the month of September.
Wow.
I have to get the details kind of figured out in my brain, but I'm thinking it's going to be on LinkedIn and or Instagram in terms of where I do it.
Cool.
Yeah. But I think, it's just like you said. I mean, saying that, I think I started sweating a little bit. I'm going to be honest with you
but
because
my stomach turned a little bit when I said I was going to do writing. 'Cause
Right.
Writing is not one of my favorite things to do. I think that it takes me a long time to do it. I enjoy once I finish it, but to actually do it, it's not one of my favorite tasks to do, but it's something that I have to do.
And I tend to fall in the perfectionist trap, right? I know that done is better than perfect. I can embrace that as a concept, but I really struggle sometimes. And I think with video and this idea of live streaming, what's holding me back is I'm never quite good enough, right? I'm never quite ready. So then I just don't do it. So my big push is if I get over myself and I just commit to doing it, granted, I'll put some prep in terms of what I want to say, but if I just get myself to do it, I need to get over this hurdle of perfection. It has to happen for me to be able to do that. And I think another piece, like you mentioned, breaking down 30 minutes every day and just taking a task or a subtask of the bigger task. That's kind of how I see with the live streaming is it's not about doing a 30-minute show on LinkedIn. Right. It's a couple of minutes, right? Just getting on, providing a tip, checking in with your audience, saying hello, whatever the case is. And then eventually it just becomes second nature. That's my hope and my goal.
Well, I think the main theme here to really be aware of is consistency. We do it every single day. And it's funny because I was actually just listening to Gary Vee, of course, on my ride to and from my errands. I like to listen to Gary Vee. And he talks all the time about how consistency wins, right? Just being consistent. Right. You're right. I'm also a perfectionist. So I'm like, well, I can't release that yet because it's not perfect. But getting anything out, I'm going to say, or completing that task in a consistent manner, getting it out there, especially when you're talking about content marketing or whatever it is that you're going to do to grow your business, really, really helps to spread the message, helps to people to know who you are. And I think more often than not, people are so much more forgiving. Like for me, I'm like, oh my God, I made a grammatical error. And that's now, they're going to just look at that and just rip me apart. But in reality, like I have to get over myself, like you just said, and not be so vain because people aren't thinking about that. They're getting the content as a helpful piece. And I don't think they're going to critique my actual, grammar and writing, unless I make a spelling error. But hey, we've got all sorts of things for that these days. So there shouldn't be an error that goes out.
And it is that perfectionism is such a trap, I think, for so many people. It doesn't mean not doing well. It just means that sometimes good enough is truly good enough.
Yeah, exactly. Guys, I think, so Pam, you've entered the challenge.
I have. Live streaming for 30 days.
Live streaming for 30 days. And we're going to be following you because there needs to be accountability. Yes. So we're going to follow you on LinkedIn and or Instagram. And I am going to spend 30 days working on writing my blogs. And hopefully that will result in the publishing of blogs once a week again. So that is my challenge. I am taking that in front of all of you bosses and Pam too. So you guys, we want to invite you to also come in on the 30-day challenge. And since we both believe that it's important that we actually write this down and we document it, I actually have a form that you can fill out to enter the challenge. And the form is located at our bit.ly link at bit.ly/30-day boss challenge. So if you guys want to take the 30-day boss challenge, it basically, you're going to just sign a contract and tell us what you're going to do for 30 days. And then we will check in on you guys in a few weeks. And then ultimately, we'll have some of you share your experiences, hopefully at the end of September, so we can all kind of have accountability to one another.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be great. Yeah,
So,
I would love to hear how the bosses out there are implementing 30-day consistent daily activity. I think we can all learn from each other. And what a great win at the end of the 30 days to be able to share that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So yeah, guys, remember that's bit.ly/30-day boss challenge. And of course, we will be publishing that on all of our social channels, as well as giving you an email for those of you who are signed up for our mailing list. Go to voboss.com. You can sign up there and you'll get all the information. And let's do this, bosses. I'm into it.
I'm in. I'm all in. Oh my gosh. I'm nervous, but I'm all in, Anne.
Me too. Me too. And we will all support each other along the way. And
yes.
Speaking of support, I'd like to give a huge shout out to our amazing sponsor, IPDTL. You too can connect and take the challenge like a boss and find out more at IPDTL.com. You guys have an amazing week. Let's start this challenge September 1st. Fill out the form so we know you guys are in on it with us. And we'll see you next week.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Bye.
Join us next week for another edition of VO Boss with your host, Ann Ganguza. And take your business to the next level. Sign up for our mailing list at voboss.com and receive exclusive content, industry revolutionizing tips and strategies, and new ways to rock your business like a boss. Redistribution with permission, coast-to-coast connectivity via IPDTL.
Hey everyone, welcome to the VO Boss podcast. I'm here. I don't know where that came from. Yes, I'm here. Okay.
Okay, don't.
Sorry. Okay.
Oh my
Breath.
God.
Big
the
breath.
heat, the heat in the small room is getting to me.
Me too. Okay, here we go.